Hey guys, one thing I'm always asked about on this channel are my guitar tones and how do I get my tones, what's my setup for all my different videos. Now, if you've seen any of the videos on my channel within the last year or so, believe it or not, every single one is using GarageBand. My guitar is plugged directly into GarageBand, and whether it's the rock guitarist at a jazz gig videos, or if I'm doing some, two-hand tapping stuff with a clean tone. Or if I'm doing distorted stuff and I have kind of a high gain sound, kind of like a Steve Vai or Van Halen type tone. Everything I'm getting is straight from GarageBand. So everyone's always a little surprised when they hear that. They think it's, some more expensive plugin or some crazy setup. But I like to keep things simple, whether it's recording or guitar setups or video editing. I like to keep things very simple so that I'm not fussing with stuff and I can work quick and get stuff done. So I'm going to show you some of the different tones that I use within GarageBand, some of them being presets that I do not touch at all, and then some of them are ones that I've tweaked, and I'll show you what I've done with them and certain things I do to get a nice guitar tone and things that I think make a big difference. So first, with today's video, I'm using my Donner Strat, and the point of using this guitar is to show you that you don't need any crazy expensive guitar to get a really nice tone. This guitar does have DiMarzio pickups, which of course makes a big difference, especially DiMarzio's. I have the injector pickup in the neck here, the Paul Gilbert model, and I have a super distortion in the bridge, which of course gets you a really nice sound. So the guitar is going into the computer using the Focusrite Scarlett Solo interface. As you can see, a really small, compact interface, doesn't take up a lot of space. I've had zero issues with it. The thing is reliable and sounds great. As you can see here, I have GarageBand pulled up with a new project just to show you how it works, where it lets you choose your input when you open a new project. I'm gonna choose the audio, the guitar one, and it sets you up with a basic Brit clean sound here. Let's see what this sounds like without touching it at all. It sounds pretty nice. Now, one thing I do with a lot of my tones, one thing that I find makes a huge difference is I always add some reverb. So here I'll show you, I always add master reverb, add quite a bit. And I think I have a preset, but just to show you what I do, go into the master effects, master reverb here, and I just change the time to about 5 and I change the volume to about 5. And add a fair amount, depending on the track, depending on what kind of sound I want. But as you can see, adding a fair amount. And let's hear the difference there with the reverb. I find it gives you this really nice kind of smooth, saturated tone. Whether it's high gain or clean, I always add some reverb. So for the rock guitar player at a jazz gig videos, that one is as simple as it gets. I'm gonna add a new track here, go into electric guitar, clean, and I literally just choose cool jazz combo with the new track. You just have to make sure your input is set to your guitar, add some reverb. And depending on what guitar I use, I might turn down the tone knob just a little bit, but have it on the neck pickup to get that nice smooth jazz sound. Really nice, smooth jazz tone. And that's all I do for those videos. Sometimes most of the time, the video is recorded using, a high output pickup, and yet it still sounds nice and smooth and jazz. If I'm doing any two-hand tapping stuff, then one preset that I really like within GarageBand is this clean echoes here. It's a very compressed, clean sound. And this one, I think I do add some reverb to it, but you'll hear it's a little, you know, a little slappier. Kind of reminds me of like Polyphia a little bit that way, but especially if you're doing any like two-hand tapping stuff. Sounds really cool, and it gets you this really wide sound too, because it has this delay that kind of spreads the guitar from the left to right speaker. So it sounds really nice in a stereo mix. Next up is one of two of my distorted sounds. Now this one is a preset that I do not really touch too much. Here in distorted guitar I use Stadium Spread, and I'll just turn down the reverb a little bit because it has quite a bit. Make sure my input is on the guitar. And this one, it gets a really nice, smooth, almost Eric Johnson type, you know, distorted sound. So if I'm doing something like a little bluesier or just something that doesn't require some screaming tone, I really like that smooth guitar sound that that one gives you. Now up next is my main high gain sound that I use quite a bit, and I have it saved here as a patch called Van Halen because it kind of going for that sound. I think I tweaked one of the presets that was called Brown Sound or Brown Tone or something like that, which of course reminded me of Eddie. And some of it I haven't really tweaked. I'll just add the reverb again. And as you can see, it's really the same reverb. It's the same amount and same time and all that kind of stuff. And it gets a really cool sound. Make sure my guitar's set here. It has a little bit of delay on it, which I also like for a lead tone. Really nice high gain sound. I use that for both rhythm and lead. So for rhythm, usually I would just turn off some of the delay and maybe scoop the mids just a little bit because it gives you this really nice kind of, you know, rock guitar tone. With this sound, just to show you some of the things that I've tweaked on it or what I'm using. The great thing with GarageBand is you not only have an amp modeler, as you can see here, where you have so many different types of amps that you can choose from, but you also have cabs and even the microphone that mics the cab. So these are my settings here for this high gain sound. As I said, sometimes for rhythm, I'll drop the mids a little bit, or maybe touch more gain or a little bit less, or little things like that. And then also you have your pedal board, which is really cool, where you have all these different types of effects you can add to your sound. And so, you know, just have fun here. If I add a phaser, see what this sounds like. That's very cool. That's very fun. As simple as just dragging it back out to get rid of that pedal. But you got, you know, flangers and a whole bunch of fun stuff. I like that. That has a really nice tone to it. So it's a lot of fun to play with, but GarageBand is amazing because you can practice at all times of the day or night with some headphones, or get some nice studio monitors and get a really nice sound. For recording, it's amazing because the great thing with amp sims and using something like a digital interface like this is that you can record your take and be happy with how you played it and actually change your tone after the take, which is great. Where obviously if you're micing an amp, you can't really do that. There are ways of doing it, but it's way more complicated than pressing some buttons in a digital interface like this. So, and it's also amazing nowadays just how good these sound, especially GarageBand being a free software that comes with a computer when you buy it. And I was, you know, really blown away when I first got my computer of how good these sounds are. I used to use Overloud back in the day, and I haven't used that one for years, so I'm sure it, you know, sounds amazing as well. And I know a lot of artists who use it, but I haven't felt the need to upgrade from GarageBand just because I've been so happy with the sounds that I have in this software, and it does pretty much everything I need. So I encourage you guys to try it out, and hopefully this video has been helpful with how to dial in a nice guitar tone, especially in a nice simple software like GarageBand, just showing that you don't need any crazy expensive equipment or even a crazy expensive guitar to sound really good. Let me know in the comments what you think, and don't forget to subscribe for future videos. Thanks, guys.